Everybody's different.
We come from different places. And we all want different things. I want to grow my career.
I want to make a difference.
I want my research to have an impact. But we all have one thing in common.
We want to be somewhere we can fulfill our ambition. Not just a graduate business school, but a global community full of people who want to go further,
Push harder. Achieve more.
do things differently,
With the faculty producing cutting-edge research that's making a difference.
changing how we think.
A community that's making its mark on Ireland and the world.
At Ireland's highly ranked and triple accredited business school, offering internationally recognised MBA and business masters programmes. Distinctively located in Dublin, one of the friendliest, most exciting cities in the world, and home to the world's leading companies. A local campus with a global network of alumni, where students connect with industry leaders and each other.
Where faculty address the biggest problems of today, creating real solutions for the real world. We'll all end up with different careers.
In different places,
Making an impact in business and society.
we're all different.
But we'll always have one thing in common.
UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School, creating a better future.
Great. Welcome everybody to this session of UCD University College Dublin Smurfit Business School in Dublin. And you already saw a brief introduction. I hope that already got you in the mood a little bit, and you were able to see how it is to possibly study there. Now, today's session will be about the new flexible online Master in Management. So in the next 30 to 40 minutes or so, we'll go over all the ins and outs of this program and why to consider it. And before we go over to Dublin, I would like to briefly explain to you some of the interactive options. So first of all, welcome to everybody that joined live. Great to see. You can interact with us in different ways. First of all, if you're joining in from wherever you are, you can let us know in the chat. So you just let us know where you're logging in from. And also for the people that are watching the recording, you can also participate in all these interactive options. Also, we will be opening up polling questions. So at the right bottom, you see already a polling question that opened up. And I see people already started responding, just to know a little bit more about your academic and professional background. And throughout the session, we'll be opening up some more of these polling questions, just to get to know you a little bit better. What else do we have? Well, I see them flying in already on the screen. So we have some React buttons as well, just to make it a little bit more interactive and fun. At the bottom of the screen, you see React, and you can indeed click on that and give your reaction of choice. And so we like to hear those. And of course, last but not least, very important, at the right bottom, you see questions. There you can write your questions at any time. For the live audience, we will be answering these questions at the end of the session. For the people watching the recording, you can also still write your questions. We can, of course, not answer them live. However, we will be sending them through to the staff of UCD. All right, without further ado, let's go over to the speaker that we have with us, and she will introduce briefly herself. Orna, go ahead and let us know a little bit about yourself and, of course, about the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luke, and thank you all of you for attending today. Greetings from a very sunny Dublin. My name is Orna O'Brien. I'm the director of our UCD College of Business Global Campus. As you'll see in a moment, UCD is a very global university. We oversee a very large operation in Singapore, as well as our Dublin operations. We have operations in Sri Lanka and Hong Kong, and we're very excited to now have the ultimate in flexible learning with our MSc in Management program. So I have a very short presentation that I will be bringing you through now. It'll take about 25 minutes or so. We'll have some questions at the end. Hopefully it'll whet your appetite in terms of this really innovative and dynamic postgraduate program. So this is our Masters in Management online program. You'll see that the curriculum that we've put together is really cutting edge, and we're delighted to be able to discuss it with you here today. I'll also be able to tell you a little bit about UCD. I don't know how familiar some of you with University College Dublin, but delighted to tell you the prestigious university and business school that we have here. You'll already have seen the business school campus itself. For an online program, there will be options for you to come to visit us in Dublin should you wish, but ultimately this will be an entirely online program, giving you the ultimate in terms of flexible learning. The program is really offered for those who have taken an undergraduate qualification in a non-business subject. So we see an awful lot of students coming in from the likes of engineering, from the sciences, from law, an awful lot in the health background. We've had quite a number of nurses, radiographers, doctors, and also a lot coming from the teaching background. So those teaching at what would be considered in Ireland as primary or second level teachers as well. So this program is offered for those who haven't studied business before at university level. Everything is taken from a grassroots level, and really over the course of the 2 years to build you up with the key management skills that you want to progress your career and really to accelerate into a more junior or senior management role in your own organization. The entry requirements are probably equivalent to a level 8 degree in the Irish context, and we can talk about that a little bit later on in terms of what that might mean. So let me introduce you to UCD. As I say, you've seen our beautiful campus. It's looking absolutely radiant here today in the sunshine. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School, we are in the top 1% of business schools globally. We hold something that's called the Triple Crown of accreditation, which is highly prestigious. It is the accreditation of ACCSB, which is the American Association for Business Schools, EQUIS, which is EFMD, which is the European accreditation body, and also that of AMBA. So we're very proud to not only be in the top 1% of business schools globally, but to be there for over 25 years at this stage. So we have a long tradition of very high quality business education, and actually we're one of the first universities to introduce the MBA to Europe. When you look in terms of our rankings, you'll see that we're consistently in the top 30 business schools in Europe over the last 7 years, when you look at quality rankings like the FT, QS, and the Economist. As I'll speak to you in a moment, you also find that UCD is a very global university. So in terms of our faculty, in terms of our strategy, even in terms of our global footprint, we're really excited to be able to now offer this MSc online program as well, and to further extend that global accessibility of UCD. You'll find that UCD is a highly recognized university. Our diaspora is into the hundreds of thousands, and really no matter where you go in the globe, that UCD qualification is fully recognized. I'll talk a little bit in a moment about alumni as well, and that in most countries we do have an active alumni chapter. So even when you finished your studies with us, it's usually just the start of a long relationship with UCD, which is highly useful from a business networking perspective. You can see here our global footprint as it stands at the moment. As I mentioned, in our own office ourselves, we deal with programs that are offered through Dublin, through Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, and Singapore. Have a lot of expertise in the online provision, and delighted to use that as our foundation now for the MSc in Management online. More generally, UCD has a number of global centres as well. So we've centres in the States, in LA, in Chicago, New York, Boston. We also have an operation in Dubai, in India, New Delhi, Kuala Lumpur, Beijing, and then recently in the last month, we've now opened an office as well in Africa and Nigeria. So really, I suppose we are more than an aspiration of being a global university. We very much have a global footprint, and also in terms of our faculty. So about half of our faculty come from outside of Ireland. And for us as a university pedagogic strategy, it's so important for us to have international researchers looking at global trends and patterns, and being able to bring that into the curriculum and share with you on our program. In terms of the pattern we see, I don't know, Luke, if we can ask how many of the students are working on a full-time basis, just to get a little bit of a sense of you guys. The pattern of students that we see on this postgraduate program typically are about 32. So we have students who are quite a bit older than that, but on average it turns out to be about 32. Because of the global reach of the program, we get a good blend of students as well. So there's very much a diverse student population here at the Smurfit School, and that we're very, very, very proud of. So I see, thank you, Wissam, that poll versus part-time, full-time students is just open, so we can check back in and see the results of that in a little while. The gender split as well, I don't know how we've managed it, but we're right on message. We have 50-50 gender split at the moment. And then in terms of where students come from, as I say, it's a very rich background of students. We'll also be interested to find out in a few moments how many of you might have studied online before. And very much, I suppose, the thinking and the thought and the pedagogy about this program is about bringing our first-class learning experience at the Smurfit School into that accessible online environment. You'll see in a moment that while the program gives you a huge amount of flexibility, that we also want students to feel that there's a lot of student support and engagement on it. The team and myself have a lot of experience working with part-time students, and we know that it can be wonderful having that flexibility, but also that it can be a little bit daunting and challenging studying on your own. So there's a very strong student support and dedicated resources to help you navigate this really exciting online environment. So this program is a 2-year part-time program. The way the MSc Management is offered is that students will all start together, and it will be in September as our next intake, and they will move as a group through their program of study. So firmly believe in that community of practice online and getting to know each other as a class. To give you as much flexibility as possible, a lot of the material is asynchronous to help you to navigate it, but you will have touch points with your lecturing team throughout the trimester. We call a trimester a term essentially, and that runs from September until December. There's a break over the Christmas period, and then students will come back to us again in mid-January, and the next term or trimester would run until around mid-April with exams or assessment in May. So in terms of the program, as I say, the beautiful campus here in Smurfit will always be available to you, but Brightspace, which is our virtual learning environment, will be your home campus to help you navigate the module. We've very lucky in terms of the resources that we have at UCD College of Business. We have a dedicated business e-learning team and our own TV studios and podcasting studios explicitly designed and there for us to make use of for this particular program. All the material is very high standard in terms of its production, and also in terms of high levels of engagement and interaction. So I suppose when we think about online, you know, people think about their digital literacy and what the skills be required. So we'll be very happy as part of our program of orientation to help you to develop those should you need to. As I mentioned, my experience in the 20 years I've been working with part-time students is that they tend to be highly directed, very independent, autonomous learners, but at times it can be challenging to be motivated. So we have key interventions that we make at certain points each term to help keep students motivated and engaged themselves with their studies, and also as a class. Sometimes students can be a little bit worried about feeling a bit isolated. And as I say, we're very used to that and have put in place a key resource for you on the program. So Ger Dooley, who is one of my managers in the team, will be there. He's dedicated to this program. He's available to students Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, with any type of support that you might need. So we very much put a big emphasis on supporting students with their studies. Jir is there to help you with any academic or admin queries. So maybe you have a question on the content of the global leadership module that you're looking at, or perhaps you're looking for a little bit of extra reading for the digital business module. Equally, you might be looking for something more practical in terms of you want an update on your fees, or you have a question about how to navigate a really impressive online library. Jir is there to support you with any of those type of questions. He'll be in touch with the class as a whole at critical moments through each term, and giving really top quality academic supports. I know for those of you who might be a little bit older, it might be a case that it's a while since you've done an essay or a case study, and it's really helpful to have somebody to talk through maybe how to plan out that work, how to do some additional reading for that assessment, or equally you might have got a result for an assignment and you're looking for some additional feedback, and Jira really becomes your one-stop shop for all of those queries. The reason that we developed this model about 25 years ago is that the university can be a big place and your lecturers are there to help you, but you'll have different lecturers every trimester, they'll turn over. So we find for part-time students, and I know myself, I have been a part-time student, the value of knowing one individual that I can reach out, whether I'm having difficulty with my studies, I'm a little bit late with a deadline, one of my children has been sick, or maybe I'm having difficulty accessing a resource on the online environment. Jira is the key support for you on this program, and the feedback we have had over the thousands of students we've had through our unit is that is a very successful support, and it saves you getting lost in the large university that UCD is, and that you have one individual who is there to support you, and you'll get to know Jira very well and he will get to know you very well. So it's really lovely as we see the graduates coming through every year to have built that relationship and that connection with them, and see it through then when they become our alumni. So what will you learn? What do we set out that we want you to receive over the next 2 years? First of all, it's important that you understand the research, the cutting edge concepts and developments around what we have identified as key business functional areas. Our pedagogy is very much concerned with this being an all-round management qualification, so that you can understand a set of accounts, finances, theory around talent development. Really, anyone who is working in a practicing management role has the key sets to understand all of those different functional areas. Very often we find with part-time students the typical profile is they may have done something very specialist in college, as I say, maybe something engineering or science or a health science, for example. And as their career has progressed, they may find that the next step is to get into a more senior management role. That they now need to understand the accounts of the organization, the flow of money through the organization, what are the digital competencies and digital business skills that they need to develop the business. And that's exactly what this program is designed to do. Help you with the theoretical side of this, but also the practical side of it. So this is a business program for practicing business managers. We're also very mindful that we want our graduates to come in not only with the knowledge and the tools, but also to have the interpersonal skills to execute them. So it's very important for us that you have the opportunity to develop your own leadership skills, your communication skills, skills of delegation, that you really come out as an all-round manager. This isn't a program that you just learn the material and it's in your head. You have an opportunity to apply it, to try it out, and to develop your own management style over the program. We also believe as well, because you're postgraduate students at the top business school in Ireland, that we'd like to give you a little chance to do a small amount of your own research. So one of the projects that you'll do in year 2 is also for you to go and to select an in-depth topic of your own interest, and to do a little bit of research into that. We find that works very well for students. By the time they get to their final term with us in year 2, they're very often primed for a change in their career. and being able to drill into a key specialist topic at that stage and gain expertise in it is very helpful, be it their plan to stay within their own organization and to move up, or to make a move into another sector or industry. So it's a really nice experience to be able to do a little bit of your own research as well and gain that expert insights. So that's kind of our broad promise to you. They're the key 4 things that we would call our program outcomes that we want our graduates to come through with 4 years. And that really, we've cascaded that down then into the curriculum itself. And you'll see now that the different type of modules that are available on the program. The first 3 that are kicking off and are just finishing their plans and production at this stage is Global Leadership and Teams, which is really a popular one. And I see from the really diverse population that we have on the webinar today, we have people from France, from the Czech Republic, from Montenegro, Portugal, Poland, Indonesia. And how fascinating would it be to have you all in a classroom looking at the topic of global leadership and looking at different perspectives, trying to think of how you might bring your skill sets into different cultures and developing those intercultural competencies that are so important. We also have digital innovation, which is very much looking at the topic of digital business, looking at cybersecurity, digital business strategies. And then accountancy. Some people get a little bit worried when I mentioned the word accountancy, but this tends to be the module that people do best in. For accountancy, I guess the subject is often very, it's black or white, it's either right or wrong. So with accounting, we actually find it's one that students tell me before the program they're most worried about. And as the program goes on, it's the one that consistently students get the highest grades in. So if you are somebody who thinks it sounds a little bit foreboding, really it is an opportunity to understand a set of accounts, that if you're presented with a profit and loss for an organization or a statement of accounts, that you're able to understand it. So highly practical in terms of understanding that set of accounts. In the second term in year 1, you'll then go on to look at corporate finance. So understanding the flow of money in an organization, understanding concepts around bonds, dividends, etc. Marketing then, looking at the traditional marketing tools, and also a sizable component of that module is looking at digital marketing tools. So thinking about the digital platforms that are available to businesses depending on their industry and sector, and how they can leverage those to advertise their service or product. The module that's probably closest to my own heart is human resource management. So understanding our key assets in the organization of our people. How do we develop them, recruit them, select them, manage their performance, think about their talent development, etc. So again, thinking from a management perspective, how do we join up those key people management tools and make sure we're leveraging and supporting our people to do the best job for the organization. So at that stage, you would conclude. That would be the end of May, your second term would finish. You'd take a break over the summer period, so say this time next year, until the following September, and you'd move into your second year of modules. The first one is Global Strategic Management, so looking at the strategy implementation and strategy development for organizations. Our next one is looking at sustainable supply chain management. So this does introduce you to supply chain management and the tools of supply chain management, but with a very heavy focus on sustainability. That's one of the key pillars of our college. And you will find that module or that concept of sustainability will come through all of our modules, but most predominantly on this one of supply chain management. The module of economics and markets, so understanding some micro and macro economics, but also global economic policies and the impact that they have for both indigenous and multinationals. Managing innovative projects, which would be your final term, would then be like a project management module. So managing innovation products, very much about understanding project management tools, looking at some case studies of particular projects and the different stages of that project management life cycle. As I mentioned, there's that research module where at that stage you'll have completed 9 modules, and we allow you to pick what you think is most salient to your own career moves. and to do a small piece of research on it. And then the final module is business simulation, and that's an opportunity for students to make sure that I suppose they've learned everything that they can across the program. So you go through a series of simulations and teams. You essentially become adversarial companies and go through a whole suite of different changes in the business environment, putting together what you've learned from strategy, from finance, from operations. And at the end of the day, the best organization or the best team in the group wins. So it's a really nice way to round out and understand the extent of knowledge you've developed on the program. And it gets kind of competitive with the students as well. So it turns out to be a very good, fun module to complete your studies on. So you can see from the 12 modules I've spoke about there, they really do give you the key critical skills as a manager in an organization, not only to manage your team now, but also future-proofing what we expect managers will, the skills they will need over the next 3 to 5 years and beyond. The program is designed to be highly flexible. So I see your query there from Leisha. You're very welcome from Canada. Yes, time zones would be taken into account. Once we understand the student profile, we'd make sure that any of the material that would be offered on a synchronous basis would be accessible to all students. So that's something that we're very adept with as we have been working with our operations across the globe over the last number of decades. In terms of the program structure itself, so throughout September, we'll be starting the more synchronous link-in sessions, and anything that will be live, as I said, will be taking into account the time zones of the students. If there are students from Dublin, we would offer them an opportunity, or Dublin or surrounds, I should say Ireland, an opportunity if they did want to come to the campus on the 1st of September, just literally as an opportunity to meet myself and the program team and to say hello. And I'd extend that offer to anyone at any stage on the program, that if they wanted to come and see the beautiful campus that we have here, and to meet that team, that they're very, very welcome at any stage, and we would make sure that they get that warm welcome. In each of the terms, as I said, they tend to run from September kind of to the end of November, with then your assessment in December. There may be some exams on the program, but I expect that it's largely project work and assignments, just for the nature of the mode of delivery. You have a break over the Christmas period, and then the term would start again, usually around mid-January. It would run up until the end of April, and then your kind of complete assessment would be due in by mid-May. You get a break then over the summer period, and we would follow the same structure again. The only slight difference to that might be the business simulation module that usually is offered around the 3rd week in May. But we'll be able to provide you with more details on that a little bit closer to the time. We haven't done the timetable for 2025-26 just yet. We're very aware with this program, as I mentioned already, that there are strong student supports, that you feel that support in whatever form you would like that to be it rather regular emails with JUR, if you want to just pick up the phone. You might have a standing check-in if you wanted with them at different points in the trimester. We tend to be quite proactive in my team. Usually we would contact all students within their first month of the study just to see how they're getting on, and we again contact students again usually towards the beginning of November, just to see how they're getting on. Generally, most students, it's a short interaction and everything is going fine, but it can be nice to, if there is a hiccup along the way, be it in terms of managing your timetables or a little bit of pressure from work, we're very proactive in terms of reaching out to the students and supporting them with their studies. In the same vein as that, we have a very strong digital campus. So in addition to that very strong, dedicated program management support that's available to you, we have a very strong careers network at UCD. There is a dedicated careers advisor at the UCD Smurfit Business School. If you plan on taking the program for September, I certainly would make the recommendation to not leave it until the 2nd year to see your career advisor. Often students feel that they have to wait until they're close to graduation to meet with the career advisor, whereas actually I think the sooner you meet with them and you develop a career strategy around your program of study and your graduation from that program of study, I think the better use of your resources that you get out of it. So I certainly would advise you when we introduce you to the careers team to make use of them at an early stage rather than later. As I said as well, we have Brightspace, which is our virtual learning environment. We give you a full orientation on that virtual learning environment, how to navigate it. Orientation would also help you in terms of how to work in that digital space collaboratively with your teammates as well as with your lecturers. So everything in terms of the modules and also digital literacy, we would take from a foundation level. Everything is taken at grassroots level, and we work with you then to develop your skill sets. There's a very strong online facilities for students. So in terms of that collaborative space between the kind of Google workspace for students, Zoom licensing, we're very enabled to support you with your online studies. And the last aspect of that digital campus that I want to talk to you about is the UCD library. So we have a huge online repository. All of our journals are accessible to students in that online space. A lot of the textbooks and reading materials that are for the program are all accessible through that UCD library infrastructure. So unlike the days when I was a student and it was necessary to go and get those hardback journals and recent publications, everything really now is accessible to you in that online space. So between the UCD online library and Brightspace, most of your resources would be available to you. So hopefully I've given you a good insight into the program and whet your appetite to join us for the program in September. The requirements for the program are a second-class honours degree in a non-business discipline. So if you have done business in an undergraduate level, we would be pointing you to our colleagues on the other postgraduate programs. This program is really designed for a class of students who've never studied business before, and hence that grassroots levels around accounting, finance, strategy, it works very, very well for us. We do have a small amount of non-standard degree holders, and this tends to be where people have very significant management experience. So usually 10 plus years of people with senior management experience and responsibility for either people, processes, or budgets in the organization. You can see our academic fees there per academic year. So it's a two-year program to factor that in. If you happen to be a UCD graduate from another program, there is a 5% discount. For students who are watching this from Ireland and are residents in Ireland, there is tax relief at the standard rate of 20% or of your course fees as well. For those of you who are outside the Irish jurisdiction, I'd ask you to check with your local revenue providers. So hopefully you'd be interested in applying for the program. It's a very short process to apply online. You really upload a copy of your qualifications, some photo identification, and your CV. There's a small application fee of €50. And within, usually the turnaround time is within a week or so, you'll have the outcome of your application. And as I say, I hope to see as many of you as possible for our September offering. It's wonderful to see so many of you from around the globe at this session today. So we're hoping that we'll be able to replicate that in the classroom and continue to have that really rich, globally diverse student population that we enjoy here at UCD. Okay, Luke, if you're happy, I might open it up for questions. I don't know during the webinar if there were any kind of key questions that I might have missed.
Yes, thank you, Orna. Indeed, we'll go over to the questions from the audience now. I will read out a couple because I think it will be good for everybody to some of the questions to hear about those, as it may be a concern some of the people that have joined live or possibly that still watch the recording. So we'd like to address some of those questions. As mentioned, people watching the recording, by the way, you can also still write your questions. So if you're watching this, do take advantage at the bottom and write your questions there. And you can participate in the pollings. So we just opened up another poll some minutes ago, just to know a bit more if you're, if you studied an online program before, just to see about that as well. All right, let's go over to the questions. Question from Rutsena, if I say that right, asked, can we network as well? You mentioned it briefly.
Absolutely. So that's a great question. And I had mentioned earlier about the alumni connections. So absolutely. So we have a number of co-curricular programs at UCD Smurfit, the main one being the Global Leadership Program. So we would very much be enabling networking within your class, within your program, and then within the business school itself. And that happens at student level and also at alumni level. So there is a lot of activity happening at the business school itself that will be available to students, be they online or on campus students. And then beyond that, we have a highly active alumni network. So students would be very warmly welcome to any of those alumni events. As I said, we have a lot of alumni activity on campus, but we have a huge overseas chapter representation as well around the globe. 2 weeks ago, I was at one of our network events in Singapore. The week before, we'd had an event in Hong Kong. I know one of my colleagues is in New York at the moment, and we have alumni activity there. So I think it's something that we're very proud of at UCD College of Business, is that alumni networking experience, that it doesn't finish when you finish your 2 years of study with us, that really it can be something that continues with the rest of your working life.
Great. Good to hear. Thank you for addressing that as well and making it clear for everybody. A question from Aisha. It might be a particular situation, but maybe it concerns more people, because Aisha has 17 years of management experience but no degree. Can she still apply? And what are some of the eligibility options?
Sure. So we have very limited number of places for students who have that significant work experience. So what I'd encourage Aisha to think of is, does she have significant responsibility in her organization for people, for processes, or for budgets? That's kind of our key criteria. I think if she's unsure, maybe if she could send us in a copy of her CV to smurfit.admissions@ucd.e, and we'd be able to have that conversation directly with her in terms of whether this is a good program match for her or not.
Okay. And I see in the back end, your colleague have been answering as well to get in contact with Jared. So the email address is there as well.
Fantastic.
So she can get in touch just to make sure. Let's see, question from Dagmara, also a specific case, but again, maybe for other people as well. I already have a master qualification in engineering, this case from Poland. Can I still apply? And what criteria would I have to meet?
Sure, yeah. So she still will be considered a non-business graduate, so she'd be very welcome for the program. And what we do, Dagmar, is we would look at your undergraduate qualification, make sure that it met the level 8 Irish requirements, and our admissions team are very proficient at doing that. And then we would be able to progress and offer for you. So yes, if you've already got a master's program, once it's not in business, you're still very welcome to apply for the program. The main thing is that you would meet the equivalent of our undergraduate qualification, which is a second class honours program in the Irish system. So I think if you have any questions about the equivalency of that, again, to just contact my good colleagues in the admissions team, and they'll very quickly be able to tell you if you meet the eligibility requirements.
Perfect. Okay. Question from Ulubunmi, if I say that right. Is there another intake, or is September the only one every year?
Yeah, at the moment, I suppose we fill our places quite comfortably for September, so we would only have a September intake for the coming year. That may change for the academic year 24-25, but certainly for 2023 to 2024, there'll only be a September intake of this program.
Okay. All right. Derash asks, what's the fee structure? So that has been answered also by your colleague. Yep. But I just want to highlight that there's a link that was given in underneath the question.
Sure.
Also, before I provided a link to the applications portal, but just to make sure you have those links there as well.
Yeah, exactly. So with the fees, it's that 8,100 730 fee per academic year. I believe when you get your offer of place in the program, there's a deposit of €500, and then you can decide what way you want to pay your installments for the program across the duration of your studies. As I said, if you're residing in Ireland under Irish tax legislation, you get a rebate of 20% on the tax fees as well. So,
perfect. Thank you. Question from Angela. Can you advise a little regarding the assessment piece of the modules? So is the assignment based on exams, or is there a percentage that is group-based?
Yeah, so a lot of the assessments will be based around projects. I think that's the really great thing about working with part-time students, is that experiential piece. And so as much as possible, we want you to be able to relate what you've been learning about to your own work organization or another work organization. So a lot of it will be around continuous assessment. There may be a small element that might have an exam, possibly maybe for accountancy, but really that's going to be in the minority. Early on, I mentioned about the program outcomes, and as I mentioned, it's really important for us that you have not just developed the academic and the theoretical side of things, but also that you have developed your own interpersonal skills and your global competencies in working with teams. So because of that, we do have some teamwork. Now, the balance of it will change per module, but it would never be worth more than half of a module. Equally, you'll have some modules that the assessment will be completed entirely on an individual basis. So what we try to do is make sure there's a good variety of assessment that meets everybody's different learning styles, but also helps them to develop their own interpersonal and leadership skills as well. So there will be an element of teamwork, but nothing that's too onerous either.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. We're getting the thumbs up, so I guess that's
I must be saying the right thing slowly.
Good to see. We received a question in the chat. I just wanted to make sure we answered that as well. Abdel Rahman asked, do you have any advice for someone who studied business at level 8 and interested to dive deeper into management? Is this program suitable?
No, so if you have studied business before, unfortunately, you wouldn't be eligible for it. So it's only designed for non-business graduates. We do have a really rich portfolio of specialist master's programs at Smurfit. So while this program mightn't meet your needs, there certainly would be one in our portfolio that would. So unfortunately, Abdurrahman, because you studied business before, you'd have a significant advantage over the class. So it would change the starting point at which we would be introducing the modules to everyone. So I think in the classroom, there's a degree of comfort that everybody has the same starting point and nobody has studied business before, and you're starting on that exciting journey before. But as I mentioned, there's a whole range of other specialist master's programs offered from UCD Smurfit across all the different disciplines. So while this might not meet your needs, Abdurrahman, I'd be confident that there is a program here that would.
Thank you. Good. I hope that helps Abdurrahman as well. Related to that, Enda is asking, I have a bachelor degree in energy and business management, but the main focus really was on the energy.
Okay,
can
interesting.
I still apply for this?
Yeah, I think, Enda, if you don't mind to send us in a copy of your transcript and we can just look at that weighting. If it's significantly secured towards the energy management, we wouldn't consider you to be a business graduate. So if someone's done a small number of business modules, we wouldn't consider that to be a business qualification. I think it's a pure business undergraduate degree is what would be of concern to us. So, and if you want to send us in a copy of your transcript, we'd be delighted to give you some feedback and see if this is the right program and match for you.
Okay. Perfect. Question that came in from Louise, if you say that right. Application deadline said early summer. Is that a hard stop to work towards?
So at the moment, I think anyone who's interested in the program, I would encourage them to apply by the 7th of July, just so that we can make sure that we have places for this year. There's a dedicated admissions team in Smurfit, and you simply apply at the ucd.ie/apply now, and that process is quite quick. As I say, all you have to do is upload a copy of your transcripts, your ID, and a copy of your CV, and then we'll be able to advise you on the outcome of your application. So we don't have too many places left. So I think if you're interested for this September, I'd say come now and come quickly to make sure you have your place to join us.
Okay. And I think that's answering those questions. Let me see. There's another one that came in. Well, excuse me for my pronunciation of Irish names. Maybe you can see that better. The question is: are lectures live each week, or can you watch recordings?
Yeah, so a lot of it is asynchronous. We really want this to be a flexible program. There will be some synchronous touch points throughout the trimester, but a lot of the material is front-loaded to give students as much flexibility. So we understand from our student profile that, we might have people who are working in a nursing background and doing shift work. We might be people who are working in finance and accounts, and, the end of Q3 is a really pressure point for them. So we work with students to give them flexibility to navigate a lot of the material themselves. And then we will be able to tell you about the occasional live sessions in the coming months to make sure that students would have them in their diary. But really what we've tried to design is a really strong learning experience, which is highly flexible, but also has that really strong student piece for support as well.
Okay. Great. Thank you. I think those were the questions we've received so far.
Okay. I think just in working with just in working with part-time students, I think people worry about what the weekly commitment is. So our rule of thumb will be something between 12 to 16 hours a week of study. It's designed to be highly flexible so that, if you're an early bird, you can do your studies early in the morning. If you like to cram it over the weekend, you can. My one word of advice to part-time students is always that if there's something that you enjoy doing, being it football on a Tuesday or a swim class on a Thursday, make sure that you don't give this up, because the program is very doable. It's very navigable. It can be challenging being a part-time student when you're working as well. So make sure that you hold on to those things that you enjoy during the trimester. They're as important as jumping into the studies. The students I worry about are the students who give up everything and concentrate on nothing but the studies for the month of September, and they very quickly burn out. So the program is designed to allow students to take a really balanced, flexible approach across the trimester and manage all the multiple things that part-time students do so well, be it their career, being carers, having small children, their leisure and sporting programs as well. So that balance, this program is designed to enable that balance as much as possible, and allow people to keep all the different balls in the air.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Great advice. I think that is suitable for a lot of people. I'm putting a link on the screen, as you can see, the program overview. So just in case, you can find there the link, if you click on it, to the program overview. There's the curriculum, how to apply, fees, all of it there. So if you want to click on that, and then at your own pace, when we're closing this session, you can have a look and possibly apply if you're interested. So we hope this session helped you with this. We still have a minute or so left for any last questions. Let me quickly check if there's one I missed. I think they have been answered pretty much.
Right. Well, I think really just to reiterate the opportunity to take this really innovative and flexible program. As I said, UCD is that first business school in Ireland. We have a long history in terms of part-time delivery and flexible support for students. So hopefully this is a program that meets people's needs, and we get an opportunity to welcome you on board in September.
Great. Thank you, Orna. Appreciate your time. And from my end as well, slowly we round off the session. I would like to thank everybody for having joined. Remember, for people watching the recording, you can still write your questions and get in touch, of course. I will put the email again on the screen in a second. Just to also leave you with, we have one last question for you, as we'd like to know how we did. How was the session for you? I hope we met your needs. There is, sorry to put it over your head, Orna.
That's fine. That's okay.
Just to get your feedback from all of you. Thanks, everyone. And if you feel you want to comment anything, let us know in the chat. and that would be great to hear any constructive feedback, of course, as well. So far, it seems we're getting good grades, so good. Great to see. Thank you, and yeah, from now, bye everyone.
Thank you so much,
thank
Luke.
you for your time.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks a million. Thank you.
Bye.